How you doing, sir?
Good, good. I just gotta step out of the room for a quick minute. I'll be right back.
Okay. See you guys looking at the pass, looking at the daily change in DAO treasuries. Pretty interesting. Over in the DAO discussion channel. Do we have a board for what we're going to be discussing today? Okay, I do see it from Hardcore. Nice. Thanks for the hard work there, Hardcore. Finding time between crushing it in the arena to put the boards together. Love it. Taking a look at what we got on the agenda.
We are back. All right. Let's get the mirror board out there. GM, everybody. All 25 of you. People usually start trickling in after the first bit. How are you this morning, Coda Dan?
Yep, pretty good, pretty good. Been playing with some Mid-Journey and some ChatGPT today. Trying to get.
Really?
Has anyone been able to get a convincing Aavegotchi generated from Mid-Journey? Haven't been able to.
It's
Trying
funny
to though.
we were playing with a I think it's called Skybox. We were playing with this DApp called Skybox, and what it does is it's GPT-4 powered, but it's a world builder. And so you put in your prompt of what you think you want your world to look like, and then it builds a 3D rendered world out for you in like a minute. And so I was trying to describe the Gotchiverse, and it was kind of interesting to see what kind of 3D rendered models of the Gotchiverse it was putting out there. It was interesting. Didn't get close though. We did get a great portal. We did get a great portal to show up in the middle,
Nice.
but that's as close as we got. I'm going to go right ahead, and I'm going to share my screen. I'll share my screen right here in the chat. Just give me 1 second. Let's see. Hardcore's put together a presentation here together. We'll have two guests up here on the show today. We'll have Lost Local show up in the second half of our session here, and we'll discuss some upcoming events. And then we also have I think we might have Bin Laden in the house, but we'll see. If Bin Laden's in the house, he can join us on the Guild Cards Season 1 tokenomics. I think he would be the right guy to take us through that. And then we also have some active threads that we can look at. And then, of course, Coder Dan, is there anything specific that you had on your mind this morning?
Yeah, I'll have a think as you guys are going over it.
No stream of GMI. No GMI stream of call. Yeah, so lately I've been having issues on my end with the GMI Twitch for some reason. I'm not sure what sources we're going out to here. So we should be going. Oh yeah, we should be going out to the GMI friends. Aavegotchi. Yeah. Okay. I just added the destination now, so it should go there. Yeah. Okay. I've added that in. I'll also share my screen, like I said here. Anthony, I think he's referring to, yeah, That's the Twitch that's having issues. So I got to contact them and sort that out. I'm having token issues on my end. Let's get this up. It's good to be back. Good to be back in my domain. It's rough, man. Doing like live streams and stuff on the road is. I need to get some better equipment, but yeah, it's definitely a challenge. All right. So I guess what we'll start out with is let's talk about proposals. We talked about guests. Yeah, actually, let me just quickly just get a DM like in here. Okay, let's get into it. All right, so proposals. Aavegotchi DAO proposals. Can you guys see the stream all right? Or at least in Discord? Can you guys see
Yep.
that? All right, perfect. We have Agip 68. So Agip 68 was funding the Fireball GG team to develop guilds. Agip 68, yeah, funding Fireball GG team to develop guilds. So we have 95% in favor of, and this was to fund $27,500 worth of development to create essentially an on-chain guild module on top of Gnosis that would also be a shareable warehouse for like wearables and guild items, which I thought was really interesting. Fireball GG is a Aavegotchi website that's built out a whole bunch of like useful infrastructure for Aavegotchi, and so this is a funded expansion by the DAO. So this one's officially passed and met quorum with 17 million votes. This one has passed. Now we'll get into this in a minute, but has this proposal been paid? Was there some sort of a process or follow up from Yannick on your guys' behalf, either to Pixelcraft or to the DAO Treasury signers to make the payment?
Sorry, which one was that one?
This is Agip 68 funding Fireball GG team to develop guilds. Request for 27,500 DAI.
We have not funded it. Ideally, all of the funding from now on would be just coming from the DAO Treasury,
Okay,
without Pixelcraft having to send those out.
that makes
Since
sense.
we now have the DAO Treasury on. I think they're in the process of bridging it over just as we speak right now.
Okay, so okay, so across the board, then we should expect some a very minor delay while they're doing that to get those funds over. And so just across the board, I guess we should put that out there that some of these projects or requests that have passed might have a small delay before the funds get sent out.
Mm-hmm.
Maury made some really good points earlier this week, and I'll discuss that in a sec. I think he had some really good ideas. He's been kind of vocal about this aspect, and I've been trying to take some of his, stuff, that suggestions, and applying it. So, anyway, Agip 69. This had to be the one that was Agip 69. I wanted to write Agip 69. That was totally going to be. That was totally going to be on my radar, but yeah. So I think Dr. Al beat me to the punch there. Securing protocol rewards for operational and funding requests. And this is that the purchase program. I'm going to call it a purchase program for Ghost because that's what we're doing here. But the purchase program for Ghost for player rewards, that's going to start as soon as these funds make their way over. Going back to my first point. So I think there will be a little bit of a delay. But is there anything that needs to happen on behalf of this requester to actually implement this, or anything that needs to happen either on behalf of Pixelcraft or another party to make this happen? Like, who's doing these buybacks? Is it just a script that's just buying this Ghost?
Yeah, the DAO directors are going to be sending the funds from the protocol rewards multisig over to a contract that Bearded created.
Gotcha.
And then it's going to be doing I think it's a buyback, not a buyback, but it's a purchase every 4 hours via Gelato. And then the Ghost purchase from that will get deposited back to the protocol rewards address.
Does it get deposited directly into the protocol rewards address, or is it held in the contract that Bearded created?
I think it gets deposited. I
Okay.
haven't checked it personally, but I think it gets deposited directly.
Okay. Yeah, maybe. All right. Sounds good. Yeah, so that's that. That one's passed. It's just pending pending the funding. So that'll be on its way soon. DAO Media Team funding. This is for basically funding everything we're doing here. The DAO meetings, the mirror boards, the clips No Future does, the Spotify. I do think across the board there needs to be some improvement. That's what we discussed last week. Some of the improvements that I think we could do here that I've been discussing this last week. First and foremost, I think the biggest complaint has been information kind of siloed. So siloed information, information that's not available in one place. And so it's not necessary for you to know, it's not necessary to read the newsletter, watch all the clips, and, listen to the podcast to know what's going on here. The idea here is to address all types of people, all folks. Not everyone's going to watch the whole replay. Some people are more interested in specific segments of the DAO meeting, and so they'll usually watch these clips on Twitter or YouTube and be done with it. Some people don't like that visual format and would rather read something while they're having coffee or whatever. And so you can read the newsletter. You can be caught up in like 4 to 5 minutes usually. Podcast. I've heard people everything from I was listening to it on my sailboat to in the shower to I listen to it when I go to the gym. And so I think different formats for different folks is the idea there. But the information is currently siloed, and so No Futures clips get published on his channel. They get published on GNN. My newsletter is siloed in Substack. Hardcore stuff is on a mirror board, understandably. ZombieShepherd stuff is published on his own run channel, like Spotify channel. So the branding, there's no branding, there's no sense of similarity or accessibility. I think that could be improved. And so what I'm suggesting is a DAO run YouTube. So it'll be a DAO run YouTube page. I can manage that account, and we will post all of our DAO content there. So the clips will get posted there. The full recording will get posted there. The any DAO related material will get posted in that channel. And then all you guys have to do is just subscribe, follow, whatever, turn on your notifications, and we'll just get everything published to the DAO YouTube. I think that's going to be the best way to go about the production, like media, like it's the live stream in that. I think that would be the best way to address that. And then for the newsletter, I've actually been talking to Big Flex, and I'll get your guys' take on it as well, a PC. But I think it would be good for the DAO to contribute to the platform you guys already have. And so maybe having a DAO tab might make sense to actually have that all in one place. And so um, Big Flex was saying he writes a newsletter every Monday that gets emailed
Mhm.
out, and then we could easily integrate our DAO points, like the most pertinent information from the DAO meeting, and just forward it over and get them everything just rolled up into one. And so then you're not actually looking. And it might also be a great cross pollination opportunity because you'll have people that are reading about Aavegotchi, and then they see this thing Aavegotchi DAO. Oh, what are they doing at Aavegotchi DAO? Oh, well, this is what they discussed last weekend. I think it might be a great way to promote these meetings and get more people in here that maybe are not quite aware of the level of engagement that we have over at Aavegotchi DAO. So that's how we can address the newsletter. The podcast is something that I think just needs to get rebranded a little bit better. That's representative to the other media that we're publishing right now, and so just aesthetically making it look similar, and then also maybe promoting it a little bit more. So if we had an Aavegotchi DAO social, I do have all the Twitter handles, I have all the ENS names, I have all the lens handles for Aavegotchi DAO. So I do have all that stuff. Thanks to Choina, actually. But yeah, if the DAO feels like that's something that would be valuable, I wouldn't mind making the Aavegotchi DAO social at least active on a base level, like yeah, posting reminders of when the DAO call is coming up. I can automate those. Um, you know, uh, posting when a newsletter's out, I could retweet a newsletter. Posting video clips, these sorts of things. And so I think doing those improvements will significantly improve, I think, the way you guys feel about the siloed information, the fragmented information right now. Was it Wanda Gacci? Shout out to Wanda Gacci, who uh, suggested I take a look at the Rug Radio platform because I guess they're doing things really well there. So I'm going to go have a look and see if there's anything we can improve. But essentially, this DAO Media team funding proposal is not really to keep things the same, but more so to have an improvement over the current process. While also just securing some funding for us for the next, I think, 24 weeks is the ask. So yeah, check that out. If you like what we're doing here, you like these improvements that we're going to be implementing. If you think we could do something better than what I've just suggested here, you can always DM me or reach out or drop it in the chat. P&D Rug Radio. Other than Rug Radio being called scatters. No, I totally agree. No, totally, dude. I 100% agree with you. And that's why I'm going to look into this because I don't know what I'm expecting here. The UI did look clean. I think maybe they're speaking to that. I'm not quite sure. Okay, we got Lagan confirmed. He's going to be coming up here later in the call. All right. Onwards, Gotchi Lodge 2023 budget revision. It was a budget revision. I think we had an extensive conversation around that. So to fund the revised team, we have 3.3 million Ghost in favor of, 1.1 million Ghost saying do not fund, and the overall ask here is 19,255 USD paid on Ghost. Yeah. And that one, I don't think the Gotchi Vaults voted on that one either. Next, creating. Oh, I see a comment from Hardcore. Yeah, if someone has a strong preference for how and where to archive everything, we're super interested. Yeah, totally. And definitely reach out to Hardcore if you have ideas around that as well. creating a data dashboard and monthly reports for Aavegotchi DAO governance. Creating a dashboard for monthly reports and Aavegotchi DAO governance. This was put up by Mia, and I've reached out to Mia since she put this proposal up. Uh, I think some of it came down to process, but we see here 52% against, so not in favor of implementing this, and then 47% in favor of saying we should support this. And we haven't met quorum, we're about halfway. So it's it costs $22,000. I believe she's asking for, I think, just over 7,000 in DAI upfront, with a monthly payout of uh, somewhere around $2,200 or $2,400, I think. And so there's a consistent monthly amount for 6 months to build this out, and I guess to maintain it to a degree as well. Yeah, this proposal came down to process, and so my advice to Mia was next time to have a Discord, like a proper discussion around the whole thing before posting the proposal. I know she was up here on the weekend. I think people still had some questions though that might have gone unanswered. The other challenge I think I saw there was she posted her forum post in the original discourse forum. I don't think it got that much engagement. Uh, there was a few people that posted in there, but then I suggested she posts the forum post in the Discord DAO forum for visibility. I think that's, in my opinion, I'd be curious to know what others think. But in my opinion, I think we should be moving away from one or the other. I think we've, given it enough time to have a comparison of what's getting more engagement. Unless someone sees that there's some sort of a reason we should keep the old form. Discord seems like the right place to have it. Seems close to home. There's good visibility in here, and most people that are engaged with Aavegotchi are in this server.
Yeah.
But I'm curious to know what others think.
Yeah, it seems like now that we have this new forum, people are starting to get used to it, including myself. So makes sense. I think there is kind of more of a feeling of permanence on the old forum.
Yeah.
But there's definitely less activity over there. So trade-offs.
Is maybe archiving something you might be interested in for everything that we're discussing in these forums here, or I mean that could be an effort that gets made if you think it's something we should be preserving, like preserving all these conversations in here.
Yeah, we can. We pay I think it's like $99 a month for Discourse. So if we're not using it, we'll probably just discontinue that. But maybe there's a way to archive all the conversations in there.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Something I'll keep in the back of my mind also. So yeah, the DAO data dashboard for the DAO, that's something we have discussed. I think the DAO sees value in it. I've talked to Mia, and so hopefully, if this proposal does not pass, I'm hoping we can encourage her to, revise and resubmit that proposal. But I do think it's a good idea. And also, while I'm saying that now, actually, now that I think about it, if you're out there and you're reading Mia's proposal and you say, "Well, I could build this, but I could do it better, or I could do it, I could be more cost effective." We're open to competing proposals here. I don't think we've said that a whole lot, but if you feel like for whatever reason you think you could build a DAO dashboard, this is something that I feel like there's a large group of people in our DAO that would be able to build out something like this, because we've seen this sort of work being done. So I'm interested to see competing proposals on this. I'd like to see, I'd like to be able to make comparisons during the meeting, and, be civil about it and be respectful. But I think some competition is good. I think if you're reading Mia's proposal right now, and you think you could build something like this, definitely either reach out to me or throw up a forum post, or you can always talk to us at the DAO call. Now, let me zoom out here a little bit.
I think it seems like the last activity in that thread was 2 days ago. So I'll bump that here for anyone who wants to participate.
Yeah. Okay, that
In
makes
the
sense.
thread.
Appreciate that.
See, where is it? Creating. Oh, where'd it go? Oh, I think it's so weird. You have to like join a thread before you can. You gotta like follow it before you can add it outside. A little bit weird. I guess that makes sense though.
I've been talking to, speaking of like votes and speaking of votes, I've been talking to Governator DAO. So the founder of Governator DAO, what they're trying to do is basically they're like DAO nerds like us, like they obsess about governance, and I've invited him on to come on over the next couple weeks. We're gonna have a call next week, and then I'll get him on here and we'll talk governance, because the guy is big brained. He's like one of us when it comes to talking about governance and ways we can improve governance. And so basically what Governator DAO does is they primarily focus on building out governance systems. And he thought Aavegotchi DAO was just very interesting in terms of our on-chain metrics, in terms of our like activity as a DAO. And one of the things that we discussed during the meeting we had was having some sort of a layer 0 for voting. And so it would still be an on-chain layer, but it would precede Snapshot. Like you could push things to Snapshot from it, but it would basically allow for the ability to post a wider variety of proposals, but also cull proposals that don't meet a certain mark. And so it'll still allow for a proposal pool, people to be able to propose within specific guidelines their ideas. It'll allow the DAO to vote on those ideas, and the popular ideas will get pushed to the top. And then the most popular ideas can be discussed and then pushed to Snapshot. So it's just a more of an on-chain representation of what we're already doing. And I thought that was really interesting. So I definitely want to have him on and just discuss like his thoughts on governance and what we're doing over here, and seeing if maybe we can come up with some good ideas regarding that. Hardcore, you posted something in the chat here. This is pretty much the peak of that discussion. Are you referring to what I'm talking about right now? DAO needs a dash. Oh no, this is the dashboard. Okay. Yeah. Okay. No, Mikey J lays it out here, speaking to the DAO dashboard. If you have an idea, check this out. He lays it out for you. So this is the information we would find very valuable as a DAO. Yeah, Mikey has some very nice specifics that would line up for a sure pass if it doesn't clear this time. Absolutely. And so, also advice to Mia to tweak your proposal. Check out Mikey J's post. He's going to have this. He has this brain. He has this brain, man. I don't know. Something else. Okay. So, yeah, that takes care of all the proposals. We're just going to wait on those funds. Shout out to the DAO directors. That's not a knock on them at all. They've been doing great. And it's a big responsibility to be moving funds around like that. So it's better to be careful than to be degen in this situation. So
Totally. Bridging is like super tricky to get right. And also now they're trying to swap for the DAI for USDC, and that's also pretty tricky. So it's like you have to have all the signers on there pretty much at the same time, or else the price of like when you're swapping, it takes you have to be quick to do it.
Transaction will time out. Mm-hmm.
It's not really timeout. It's like the price, like the slippage might change, or
right.
maybe it does time out, but it's better to be able to get like push it through quickly. Oh, it does actually time out. Is that a Paraswap thing, or a is that a Gnosis safe thing?
It is a Gnosis. Oh, Paraswap.
Oh,
Okay, yeah, Paraswap.
makes
There we
sense.
go. Yeah, but you're totally right. Like even with the small amount of slippage, like for me, it's a couple dollars. It's not that much, but for when you're talking about large sums of money like that, it does add up.
Yeah.
Oh, no future. We had 4 out of 5 signed, and then the fifth missed by 6 minutes. Dang. Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
way it goes,
They didn't
man.
know about that. Yeah. So
Yeah,
that's
honestly. Yeah.
yeah. They're doing stuff. It's learning curve.
Well, even at GMI, we have firsthand headaches that we've experienced with the Gnosis Safe itself, but also just the coordination sometimes can be off, and that happens. That happens. And so, yeah, I'd remind everybody. I was looking at conversations this week. I'd remind everybody to be patient. It's better.
Mhm.
We're on a 30-year timeline here, and this who knows what this money's going to be used to fund. So why would we just give up that opportunity because we're being hasty? Let's let's take it easy. Let's slow down a little bit. We're very close to getting these funds activated, and then we'll be good. We'll be set. We'll have this money. We are probably one of the better funded projects in this whole space right now, unlocking this liquidity here. It's amazing. And I'm super bullish on the future of our project, and not only because we have a community that's ready to execute and actually fulfill these like awesome proposal requests, but we also have you know solid DAO treasury directors, and we have the money to back that up. So I'm just super bullish on everything right now. I'm feeling good. Yeah, so that wraps up our proposals. Bit of a tangent there. Yeah, well, no futuristic, there's always going to be those guys, right? There's going to be the guys in the peanut gallery, or, the guy that wants to call your house at 2 in the morning because the Gnosis transaction was an hour late, or, hasn't been signed off yet. So he needs to know. Yeah, we can't let that happen. We got to let our DAO directors stay sane, because if we drive them crazy, um, that
Mhm.
might not be good. I'm just reading some of the comments here. Hardcore Gnosis portal opening. Yeah, that was a nightmare and a half, but we did it. It's possible. It's possible. You can open. We definitely myth busted this. You can open a Aavegotchi portal through Gnosis Safe with like four signatures. You have to be fast though. Like no future is saying, you have to be fast, or you can be there for a while. All right. Okay, so we do have some things to talk about here. Coming up, we have Lagan, who's going to come and talk about Strategachi. It's almost like I feel like this is going to be the D&D for Aavegotchi. Like we need to have special dice made, and we gotta have like all this really cool stuff made for this. There's some talk about having a physical version, but now he's talking about the Guild Cards Season 1 tokenomics and distribution. And so I'm going to have him up here discussing that, but he might be a little bit before he can get up here. Let me just check the chat. Lagan, if you're in the house, if you want to come up at any point, you can put up your hand. I'll get you up here. Upcoming events. We have a couple upcoming events. I'll speak to one that I'm going to, and then Lost Local will also be up here to discuss NFT NYC. And I see, is McCallum in the house? McCallum is not in the house, but I was hoping that maybe he might be able to speak to Rizzlefest back and fill you guys in on that as well, because that's another event on our horizon here. So yeah, first and foremost, I'm going to NFT Miami. I'm not going to be requesting any DAO funds for that. I had a conversation with Lost Local just last night in terms of what Pixelcraft is going to be doing for that event, and it seems very minimal. There might be some sort of a happy hour, and maybe giving out some stickers and stuff. So I don't think there's really going to be much for the DAO to do there. I'm going to be going for that trip. I have some friends I'm going to meet down there, and I'll go to NFT NYC. I'll do some networking, probably on my own behalf. But yeah, for the most part, I'm gonna eat this one. I'm not gonna ask for any DAO funding for this because I don't think there's really a whole lot for the DAO to do. That being said, if you are in the Miami area over NFT NYC, I'll be down there from the 28th to the 6th of April. And so if you're down there, I'd love to meet up. I'd love to meet up with Gotchi Gang. I'll bring some of my ETH Denver stickers with me. So if we do meet up down there, I can definitely get you one of those. Yeah, lag in 5 minutes. Sounds good. Yeah, so that's NFT Miami. I'm kind of excited about it. It's a bit of a getaway for me. This time of year, going to Miami sounds like a really good idea. So yeah, it'll be good. But moving on, we need to discuss NFT NYC and Rizzlefest. So we'll get Lost Local up for that. We'll give him a couple minutes. One thing I wanted to discuss in the meantime, maybe while we wait for these guys, I wanted to talk about something Maury brought up during a forum post, which I thought was a really good conversation to have. It's the setting of standards now that we're moving forward. The DAO Treasury or the DAO directors have requested that proposals have another standard applied to them when we're actually putting our requests together. And so that pertains to, let me see if I can find Maury's post actually. 1 second here, guys. I think it was in the DAO media team. Where's a Thrive coin? Anyway, so he's basically discussing the standards for how you might want to submit your transaction submitting, like your process for submitting transactions, where the money's going to, how much it's going to be, whether you're requesting Ghost or USDC. But also now that Ghost is a lot more volatile, it does make things a little bit more tricky when people are getting paid out. Sorry, I think he says it way better than I'm describing it right now. And so let me see if I can. Someone knows the post I'm talking about. Go ahead and post it in the chat there. Yeah, I guess I'll just go off memory. So basically what he was saying, what is it? Yeah, maybe we should move this over to the Discord forum.
Just for the OUSD proposal, since it didn't really get a lot of action in the main. I don't think people are really frequenting the discourse forum that much anymore. So maybe, yeah.
Oh, perfect. All right, thanks, Seiko. That's awesome. Appreciate you. Here we go. So this is from Maury. So also when requesting payments in tokens but converted to USDC, you need a few important details. And this was pertaining to the Gotchi Lodge budget revision because we requested the amount in USDC paid out in Ghost, but we did not specify the amount of Ghost. You know, is the price of Ghost at the time of snapshot of submitting the proposal, or is it the price of Ghost, you know, once the core proposal passes? Those are some specifics that I overlooked. I think it's a good conversation to have for the rest of the DAO when we're submitting our proposals. And so, yeah, so at what time should the price be taken at? Preferably, you just choose a price point at the time of proposal and therefore a static amount of Ghost. If you don't want this volatility, then you should really just consider asking for the funds in straight up USDC or DAI, because we do have a fair bit of it in our treasury, from what I understand. So you could just straight up ask for USDC or DAI instead of Ghost if you are worried about the volatility of your token. If you're concerned about budget management of your project, I think that might be the way to go. You know, I don't think we should set the precedent of if the token price went down, you should ask for more money. I don't think that should ever be a precedent. Like, we shouldn't let that happen anyway. We shouldn't let that be a precedent that we accept as a DAO. I think it's either you're asking for the fixed ghost price straight up from the get-go at the time of snapshot, or you are, requesting the funds straight up in USDC or DAI. How long after the proposal passes should the funds be sent? If there's no written agreed upon deadline for the foundation to execute, this opens up to being accused of paying out at bad price timings. And so this is a really important point that he brings up, because I don't think we want animosity forming towards the DAO directors. I see Lagan's hand up. I'll get you up here, sir. Yeah, I don't think we want to see any animosity towards the DAO directors, and we should try and do our best to minimize that. And so, to protect them and any sort of accusations against them, what we should do is set the standard of, you specify when you want this thing to be paid out. I've put in a subsequent proposal that the funds are to be paid out within 24 hours of the core proposal passing. So that was my specification. I don't know if that's specific enough. Yeah, of course, hardcore, you're posting the block time in there. The block time could also be used as a reference. So those are just some of the suggestions I have. I think there should be some sort of a standard that we enforce, even if it's not on specific timelines or specific funding guidelines yet. We should definitely be setting the standard of, hey, at least when you're asking for the money, make sure you specify in your proposal what address the money's going to, how it's going to be paid out, and the exact timing of the payment as well. Those are some of the things you should be considering when you're writing your proposal. So it's all improvement. I'm improving, I'm learning as well. And yeah, we just got to keep on that path. We got Lagan up here. Welcome, sir. GM.
Thank you. GM to you, GM. What's everyone doing?
Yeah, it's good having you up here, man. I'm excited about what you guys are building.
Thank you.
Yeah, you have Guild Card Season 1 tokenomics and distribution. I got a mirror board together here, if you've seen it already. But I thought maybe you could take us through this conversation a little bit. Maybe explain some of your guild. What does a Guild Card Season 1 mean?
Sure.
How are you thinking about tokenomics, and how are you thinking about the distribution of all of this?
Perfect. Cool. Okay, so guild cards basically are it's the deck that you need to have in order to play the game, right? So there's going to be also a free-to-play version, which is Tides of War cards. These Tides of War cards, basically, you go into battle, and instead of playing a card from your deck that you know the effects of and you know what it does, you're going to be playing a random card. Okay, so that's something new that we came up with based on our previous conversations and stuff like that. So right now, basically, what we're working on is we're trying to figure out the best way to balance out the cards in a way that lets people like build their own decks and have that like customization factor, but also we want to make sure that people don't build like overpowering decks. So we need to come up with some kind of like limiting rules that will stop that from happening. So I'm about to drop something here in the chat. This was the original like guidelines for building a deck. Okay, so it was all about combat strength, where you could have certain strengths per slot. So you can see that the maximum powers are 4, 3, 2, 2, 1, 1, 0. And a player could choose to have a less powerful deck, but he couldn't go like above that, like have 2 4 cards for example. That wouldn't be okay. But now we're working on a little bit more like simple, I think at least, method, which is mana. So I'll just just link the little post that I posted earlier. So you see how this is like a complete deck that I put a picture of here. It consists of 7 cards, okay, and then some of the cards you can see have written effects and others don't. Okay, so the written effects cards are going to be considered the like the more overpowered cards. Those are the cards that you really want. Those are the ones that are going to give you like unique abilities in the game. So they have a mana cost. Those little stars on the bottom of them, those take up 1 out of your total 7 slots. So this is an acceptable deck. You have a godlike Dr. Wagme card that costs 3 mana, and then the Diddley card costs 2, and the Occam's costs 2 as well. So yeah, this is another like way that we're thinking might be better for the balancing of the cards, because that, like, the stuff with the numbers, I don't know, it seemed like a little bit confusing after I wrote it down. I don't think people got it.
The card counting, like the math, people are gonna have trouble running the math in through their heads. Like, I
Yeah,
don't know.
when it comes to a couple of colored squares, you have 7 slots, and then as you equip the cards, those little slots get filled up. I think, like, visually with the UI, people will be able to understand what they're doing better.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, totally. And I mean, this is actually a change I witnessed, another card game I was playing where the card counting, some people get really good at that, like running the math through their heads, and they would actually excel the leaderboards just because they were good at math, Like it wasn't based on they kind of abstracted away some of the elements of the game, in my opinion. And so having the mana makes a lot of sense. Are you thinking of it similar like AP? Like, so it's going to be power that gets drained as you're playing, but the higher tier cards are going to drain essentially more of your AP. Is that kind of
Not
similar?
necessarily like that, because it's not going to be something that recharges during the game. It's more about how you can build your deck. Okay, so another thing that we're working on right now is our guild tournament structure, and this sort of plays into that, and that kind of influenced the decision to do it this way, because what we're doing is okay. So when we create our, like, guild wars structure, basically there's going to be a way for guilds to go in, register for this tournament, okay, whitelist a certain wallet to be the representative of that guild, and then there's going to be a place where let's say we have like a 24-hour or 1 week, whatever, what's it called, like, setup phase before the tournament. And in that time, you can go in and you can see who's registered for the tournament and what guild cards, like what their deck is, basically. So you plan out what your deck is. You get it? Because once you start the game, that's it. That's your deck, and you
Got
can't
you.
change it.
You're
But
building your
you
deck out before the game.
Yes. And you can always, even during the game, you can at any point see what cards are in all of your opponent's hands. Okay, so the trick with guild cards is you don't know which one the opponent's going to play. He may have like a 4 card and like a couple of 1 cards. So if you go battle him, you don't know if he's going to play his strong card or a weak card. But you know exactly what's in his hand, you know?
Okay, no, this is making sense. And so you're building the deck beforehand. How are you acquiring some of these cards? I think you mentioned 2 different types of cards. There was like specific unique ability cards, and then there was another kind of card that you mentioned that sounded like more of a common type of card. How are people
Okay.
acquiring these cards?
Okay, so we have the main card is the guild card, right? This is an NFT that we're going to be auctioning off in GBM. It's going to be its own new asset class. But we figured that we talked about like wearables utility and stuff like that. So we figured, okay, we will also we'll give people the ability to use their wearables in place of guild cards. So we came up with a structure for how to get the combat strength from the wearable, and basically everything up to legendary. It's like it's completely determined by the rarity of the wearable. So you know exactly what your combat strength is going to be. And for mythical and godlike wearables, they will be more closer to guild cards. They'll have written abilities. They may or may not have those shield and axe icons, which give you further benefits in battle. Basically, if you play a card that has an axe icon, you may be able to kill one of your opponents. Whereas normally, what happens when you defeat a player in battle, the units get respawned inside the citadel, so they go back to the starting point, and then they can be redistributed as the rounds go on. But if you have cards that have these icons on them, they can actually kill and remove some units from the game. Basically, that helps out with like balancing the amount of units and stuff. It keeps things clean and yeah.
Okay, no, this is all making sense here. So we have some distribution. There's gonna be two different ways people can get engaged. I love how you can use your wearables to be involved in, and so basically those wearables will translate to a specific card in the game, right?
Pretty much, yeah. It
Okay,
would be a card, but based on that wearable. So the image would be the wearable. It would be known that you're using this wearable, and then its strength and effects would be determined by the rarity of the wearable, basically.
and these
And
are
then
called the. I was gonna say, and these
no,
are called the Tides of War cards, right? These are
no.
the
The Tides of War is like the complete free to play mode where it's like you don't
complete.
know what it's as if you got like a card with a question mark on it. You get it? You have
Okay,
to play a card when you go into battle, but you don't know what this card is going to do for you. It's going to either give you like anywhere from +2 to -2 to your attack. You know, it might be 0, it might
okay,
be +1, whatever. But it's like the punishment for playing for free, basically, is
yeah,
that you have
yeah.
to use a random card.
You lose the ability to craft a deck, essentially.
You lose the ability to craft deck, yeah, and to control like what happens, right? So it's like
Yeah.
it adds like that element of randomness that could happen in any battle. Like, what if it's raining one day and then the strong army ends up losing to the weak army or whatever? You get it? So,
It's
some,
interesting. It's interesting, and I think it's good to have a way, like I was saying before, I'm glad you guys took that into account, to have a way where somebody who doesn't really know what this is, they're just coming upon it, they're just finding it, to actually get engaged right away and start getting in there. And maybe they have no idea what's going on, but they start figuring it out. It's To me, it seems like these sorts of games, the best way to learn these games is actually to get in there and start playing them
yeah,
and just start figuring it out as you go, and then eventually
yeah.
you'll be like, all right, I'm done with this random stuff. I want to actually build my deck and like figure out how I can actually have an optimal position in this game.
Yeah, it sounds a little bit like when you're reading the rules and stuff, and it seems a little bit daunting and a little bit confusing. But once you get there and like you see everything in front of you, you got a board, you got these territories, you have your little units and stuff, and your orders that you can like use to control them. I think then it starts to make more sense. It's basically like if you think about it, like most people have played Risk. It's sort of like Risk, but every time you battle someone, there's no dice. First of all, you just add up the numbers, and then the randomness or the dice part comes in with the guild card, basically. So I'm attacking you, let's say 5 against your 4, and then we're each going to play a guild card that's going to add a random number that's unknown into the equation. Basically, that's how the battle is resolved.
Okay.
So it's pretty straightforward. It is a bit of a commitment, and that's why we're thinking what the best way to structure these guild tournaments are going to be. And we're thinking it's going to be something along the lines of like a weekly organized like league game, basically.
Oh
Where
yeah.
yeah, so there would be like 10 weeks, and it would be scheduled games so that like you're going to find opponents basically, because otherwise you get it, you want to be playing in that game specifically or you're going to miss out the points for that week. And then at the end of the quarter we'll have some kind of like probably like final game, and give out some really big rewards. That's the hope.
Yes.
Yeah, we want to give out like gotchis and stuff, and like like nice rewards for these
The top tier rewards.
yeah. So
Yeah,
like
it's like
I'm personally like I don't know like what the sale of these guild cards are gonna or what they're gonna actually bring in, but like I'm hoping like somewhere around the range of like maybe 4 or 5 thousand ghosts, which would give us a
okay,
nice starting chunk of money, for our treasury for player rewards, because
totally.
we want to allocate 40% of that to player rewards.
Okay, yeah, no, this is making a lot of sense. What are your thoughts on even maybe integrating some Alchemica for player rewards? Because that could be something we discuss with the DAO. If you guys want to get started, in addition to your funding that you're talking about here from the cards, if you did want to do some sort of a guild tournament, I think the DAO does have an Alchemica allocation. We could discuss that and
Oh,
see
that'd be
maybe
great.
if that's something the DAO might want to fund with some Alchemica as a prize or something, that
That would
could
be
be,
yeah, that would be perfect. And if the DAO
yeah,
feels like doing that, then yeah, of course I would get behind it. Like we're thinking about funding our own rewards based off the sales of these cards.
right. No,
So if
that's
there's
good.
any extra like Alchemica that you guys want to splash on us to give away to players, that would be awesome. I think would be really cool.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. There's one more aspect here I wanted to touch on. So we did talk about the tokenomics a little bit, but you have two models here. What are your thoughts on these two models? You know, Model 1 distributes cards more evenly across rarity tiers, and then Model 2 increase rarity for upper tiers. You know, you probably had quite a bit of time to think about this. What are your thoughts like on each of these models, and do you need help from the DAO to kind of decide which way we're going to go, or is this something you're kind of leaning one way already?
I personally lean towards the Model 2 just because I like the way the distribution looks. You know what I mean? Like in Model 1, I mean, there's not that many more rares than there are legendaries. There's not that many more commons than there are rares, etc. You know what I mean? Whereas in the other one, just looking at it, you can see like the chunks kind of make sense. You know what I mean? Like there's like almost, it looks like there's twice as many rares as legendary. Yeah, the ratios are better for me. And then like the main thing that for me is like I want to make sure that people are able to build decks. You know what I mean?
Yes.
There has to be enough like 4 cards in there. There has to be enough common and rare cards that have some strength and you know what I mean, whether it's combat strength or icons or whatever. So it's not completely just pay to win, like whoever gets the godlikes win. You know what I mean? So I think the mana thing really helps with that too. So it's like, okay, fine, you want to like put 2 godlike cards in your deck. That's going to take up 6 out of your 7 mana slots. You only have 1 left at that point. So you're going to have like 4 or 5 pretty weak cards, you know? So it's about getting good cards, coming up with a smart combination, planning ahead of time and seeing what your opponents are going to do so that you can kind of like, you know what I mean? Like find cards that mitigate their strengths.
Totally.
Yeah, so it's going to, well, there's a lot of metas involved.
Oh, I'm liking this, man. It's I think it's well put together. I think I had one more question here, just the closed packs. You had 2 models of distribution there, the closed packs versus auction each card individually. You did say, you know, you already mentioned Model 2, I think, where, you know, you were thinking you'd do away with packs and just each card would be its own GBM, which, you know, obviously it probably would lead to higher price discovery, which would be favorable for like player rewards pool. But you also have Model 1 closed packs. Are you still thinking about closed packs, or are you thinking of kind of you moved away from that?
I'm kind of on the fence on this one. Really, I was hoping to get more feedback from the community in terms of what, because for me it doesn't really doesn't make a difference. I honestly I like both ways because I love the idea of the close packs and getting something random, like, you know, paying like whatever 10 ghosts or 20 ghosts and getting like a godlike maybe or whatever could be awesome. But then again, and also like if you do closed packs, we're gonna see probably a lot more like trading on the market. You get it? People are going to end up with a lot of extra cards that they don't need and some that they want and stuff like that. So you might see some like good, like bizarre activity. Whereas when you let people buy the exact same card that they want, that it's cool for them because they can build their decks right then and there and only invest in what they want. But you lose that little bit of novelty from the closed pack, which I also kind of like. So.
I actually like the novelty of the closed pack too. It reminds me of closed portals, but I was just thinking about closed portal market, right? I think one of the challenges with closed packs, and it might affect the game, I don't know if it would or not, it might affect the meta, but some of those packs would just stay locked up. Like, you know, some people might just buy a closed pack and hold on to it as a bet on the future success of your game. Like, you know, when this game blows up, I'm going to have the original closed pack. And so depending on how many people are thinking that way, it'll essentially take some of these cards out of circulation. And I don't know how that's going to affect your meta of your game, whether you're going to have to reintroduce more cards later or, you know.
Pretty good point, actually. I never thought of that, to be honest. But yeah, I mean, I guess like at the end of the day, as long as there's enough cards for people to play, and the fact that we have the 2 backups, wearables and Tides of War cards, I think it'll work out. And yeah, like again, we're calling this Guild Card Season 1 because with the way that the structure of this works is that you can keep releasing new series of these cards, you know, indefinitely, really, because there's a system where, you know, people have to build them according to the rules and stuff like that. And also, the mana thing, going back to that, one other benefit is that it gives us a lever that we can adjust for different things. Like, you know what I mean? You could say that like later on, if the game gets like some more traction and stuff, people might end up upgrading their decks, and now you have 8 slots for mana. You get it? And so you'll
Yeah.
be playing in a higher league against people of your caliber with also 8 slots. And then maybe if you play really bad or something, or you come in last in the tournament, you get demoted and you lose a slot, and you're in a lower league now. Well, cool stuff like that can be adjusted for the future. You know.
Yeah, no, I'm liking all of this. I'm liking what I'm hearing here. Is there any feedback, based on what we've discussed here? Any feedback from the audience? Things you think, we discussed a couple models there, whether they should go one way or another, or any specific feedback on the work that's been put in so far. I think this is great. Like, I'm really excited to play this game and get up in there. I'm definitely going to be looking out for these GBM cards. And are these GBM cards going to be fake gotchis, or just going to be straight up GBM'd off on their own?
I think they're going to be their own thing.
Okay,
I think they're going to be on team. This is something that I mean, I've had talks with Jesse about like the smart contract work and the requirements, and then whether or not we'll be able to get these on GBM and in the bazaar. And it seems like it's like a pretty high chance that Pixelcraft will be able to support us in that part of the development, which is all the smart contract stuff. And it wasn't like completely like agreed upon yet, but it's like in the high 90%, I would say, based on the talks that I had with Jesse, that yeah, they're going to be able to take care of that for us. And I should be signing an agreement. I mean, we kind of verbally agreed on a phone call, but I should be signing an agreement with Pixelcraft pretty soon for the licensing IP. And then after that, you guys expect a new forum post detailing the guild structure that we're gonna do. And then I'm thinking after that, we're gonna put up a sig prop. If everything goes.
Yeah. Just take, when you guys are posting your SID prop, just take note of the conversation we had earlier with just the way you request, like when you're requesting your funding, just make sure you're requesting whatever amount you're going to get in Ghost at, the time of snapshot, that USD amount. And then just make sure you specify, when you want to get paid, like when the proposal passes, and maybe even list the specific address or addresses where you want some of these funds to go. I think we're just trying to set a standard across the board for the way we ask, like the way we're putting these through for the DAO directors.
I think that makes sense. Yeah, I think that's pretty much seems to be consensus right now. And yeah, we're going to be putting it forward in a USD amount, so the Ghost equivalent of whatever it is that based on the day that we get paid, I guess.
Exactly. Well, it could. Well, this is the conversation we had earlier. Is if you specify, at the block time that you posted the proposal, that could be what you go off of at the price that Ghost was at, or you could just, you would be kind of risking it in that sense, because you might get more Ghost in USDC terms at the end if you just, if you don't specify, or you might get less if Ghost moons, which, I'm really bullish on Ghost. A lot of people are right now. And then that would result in you getting less Ghost for your USDC amount. So I would just actually, to avoid volatility, it might be a good idea just to mention the USDC price you're requesting at the time of proposal, in my opinion.
Yep, makes sense. Any other questions? Love to take any questions from the community. Hardcore said, what's the process for picking new series? Do you just need to be memeable? The process would be, there would have to be some sort of committee. I would love to be involved myself, obviously. And that it would come down to that. Basically, people could, I really wanted to make it so that sort of like fake gotchis in a way, I guess you could say, where like we get community artists to like submit their designs, and it would be cool to have some way where like they would even though it's not done through fake gotchis, but to pay royalties to the artists.
Well, what if, here, I'm just going to throw this idea out there. You can do whatever you want with it. But what if one of the things you can earn in Stratagachi, maybe they're like hidden Easter eggs or these sigils, and you got a sigil is like a fake gotchi burn card, essentially. So it gives you the right to publish another card, in the Stratagachi series. And so it would kind of be like fake rares or fake gotchis where you'd have a burn token, and it would be part of the game. And so, if you did want to play the game and you found this Easter egg somewhere, the sigil, it was hidden somewhere, or some sort of player action that caused it to be revealed, you'd be able to claim this thing, and now it give you the right to publish one of the Stratagachi cards, pending review of your team, of course. But yeah, and it would be the right. So even if I'm a shitty artist, I could sell the sigil to somebody who does want to publish a card in your game.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, yeah. As long as there's some sort of like, there needs to be a little bit less decentralization when it comes to creating new guild cards, because they all have to kind of respect the previous season, so to speak.
Okay.
And work, like, integrate with it in a way where it doesn't create like an out of balance situation. You know what I mean? As you add new cards, so that needs to be
The
really
power
careful.
creep.
Yeah, exactly. We need to really like control that and be careful with it, which is doable. I just think it's going to require like a dedicated team to handle all these
Totally.
requests.
Totally. Yeah. All right. I immensely appreciate you coming here and speaking on this. I think the conversation was a lot more informative with you being here and discussing it. My apologies. I should have reached out last night, but I'm glad that
No worries.
you were able to make it up here today and run through this with us.
Awesome, man. It was my pleasure, and thank you guys for listening. Yeah, guys, I'll be posting that guild structure thing soon. So just looking forward to some comments and getting a conversation started around that. It should be exciting because it's going to be the first time like where there's an actual structure in place for guilds. You know what I mean? To actually compete, and I'm excited about that. Like, mostly, to be honest.
Man, we've been waiting for guild competition for a long time, and I think
Yeah.
we do need some healthy competition here to
Exactly.
diffuse any tension. That's right. Gotchi Mafia, Portal Mages, Gotchi Farming. We're looking at y'all. Let's get on this. Let's do it.
Yeah, now we're gonna finally see like who are the guilds that are gonna really step up and be the ones known for, you know what I mean, gaming.
That's right.
That's gonna be fun.
Who are our strategists in the ecosystem? Yeah, absolutely. Well, again, appreciate you, and you're free to hang out up here, or if you got things to do, I appreciate you taking the time.
Cool, man. All right, man. Thank you, guys.
No worries. All
Just gonna go
right.
mute right now.
Oh yeah, no worries. Let's see who we got in the audience here. Do we have Lost Local in the house? Lost Local. Let's see here. Lost Local. I don't see him in the chat here. I'm gonna ping him real quick just in case he might have forgot. But okay. I'm just looking at some of the comments here. Let's see. Flame. Also, after this, can we talk a little about Polygon's volume and popularity? How much has grown in 2 years compared to other networks like Optimism, Arbitrum, Phantom? Yeah, I mean, just my personal opinion, speaking to it briefly, we are the OGs on Polygon. We've heard it many times. We've seen Sandeep, Hamza been tweeting about it, and just the excitement and the energy around it. Speaking to Aavegotchi specifically, I think we're in a beautiful time for Aavegotchi. The energy right now reminds me of the early RuneScape, World of Warcraft, and kind of League of Legends community days. Just brings back really good memories. And so, I just feel really good about where we're at. I also think the excitement on Polygon is not a coincidence, but I also think we have large players coming onto Polygon now. We've had Reddit onboarded, larger companies, Starbucks onboarded in the last little while. And those people are going to bring their own followings. They're going to bring their own evangelists. And I'm hoping that they see Aavegotchi as the OG project here that they just have to have one of, at least, and see that sort of energy around our project. Compared to Optimism, Arbitrum, I have limited information. Like I have limited experience and information on both of those. I know many Gotcha Gang, many GMI members actually specifically do experiment with Optimism Arbitrum, and I heard there's a pretty sweet airdrop from Arbitrum recently. Did you guys get any ARB token? I did not. Coder Dan, any discussions of plans on de-risking the DAO from DAI or plans for liquidity besides the OUSD protocol? Hey, if there's anybody in the audience that wants to speak to that real quick, feel free to come up here. I do think there was a conversation around swapping the DAI to USDC. But if one of the directors wants to discuss that, or somebody in the audience here, you're welcome to come up here.
The wasn't. I'm not sure if what the state of the CTT is now. If they are going to, I think they are continuing to work after now that the curve has been turned off. But I'm not totally sure what their plans are going forward. But yeah, I think the DAO should continue to focus on the issues at hand of potentially de-risking and a little bit of treasury management as well, just to make sure that we're not currently we're holding 15 million in DAI. So just with the treasury and the liquidity rewards, no, the liquidity DAI. So we're not totally out of the woods yet. I don't think we should be. We need to stay focused and make sure that we're focusing on the issues.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think there was an action. Wasn't there already a proposal that went through to swap it over to USDC? I think it just has to get executed. Or maybe that was a discussion that was happening. Here, securing curve transition plans, securing funds for liquidity. And so, if there is someone on the CTT that would like to speak on this, feel free to come up here. I don't see Dr. Wagme in the house here, but if there is someone on the CTT that would like to speak to this, feel free to come up. I'm just reading this proposal here. Talking about distributing ghost liquidity mining rewards. It doesn't specify the USDC, so maybe that was a separate conversation that happened. Let's read some of these comments. People talking about OP. It's the opposite of a hedge. Yeah, but I agree with your sentiment there, Dan. I think we should move away from DAI ASAP, even if that's going into USDC, while we figure out where to go next from here. The swap to USDC is to ensure we're reaching the liquid pools on chain for efficient actions like the purchasing program, and probably to avoid some maker ecosystem risks. Yeah, totally. Light Piglet, are you talking about Balancer? Let's just swap all our DAI for gold. We'll look like that guy, the meme. I can't remember his name, but all dripping in gold, gold chain, gold everything. OUSD. Oh, the OUSD protocol. You have concerns that it already got hacked once and it has no liquidity. Yeah, there's all kinds of things being thrown around here. I think diversity of our treasury is good. Like, I don't think we should have it all in USDC. It would maybe make sense to even have, yeah, T-Bird, let's swap some of it out for Pokemon cards. Absolutely. No, but I realistically, I think, maybe having some of it in their ecosystem token, like Matic, like, would there be any opposition of having some Matic? Yeah, like Piglet, having some Bitcoin, having some little bit of Ethereum. We could easily have 32 ETH and run our own validator on Ethereum as a DAO run validator, and maybe make a little bit of income off of that. yeah, there's things that we could do with this money that could generate some income aside from, depositing on a protocol. I don't know the specifics of OUSD, so I can't speak to that, but seems like some people have had experience with it. Yeah, Flame, I love your push on rare Lego bricks. I do think there's value there. Don't know where we're going to store them though. Maybe Coder Dan's house. Are we worried about, Thrax with a good question here. Are we worried about the tax implications of using the funds to make more? Okay, Maury explaining OUSD. The way OUSD essentially works is to farm and provide liquidity for all stablecoins, which does involve providing liquidity to things like Curve. This is how it generates yield. The attractive thing about OUSD is that there is a really large amount of subsidized yield, as much of the OUSD in the contract forfeits the yield. The attractive thing about OUSD is that there's really large amount of subsidized yields, as much of the OUSD in the contract forfeits the yield. But make no mistake, OUSD is basically a liquidity yield farm. Okay. Yeah, how to hedge against stables with stables feels like a circular topic from Hardcore. Yeah, Al, that's another follow-up to Thrax's point there. If it's revenue generating, why I don't see it's an issue. We need compliance and reporting standards to ensure we're paying any necessary taxes. I don't know what the process is on the end of the DAO directors or the DAO Foundation, but I imagine they have to do some sort of filing. So it is a good question to ask there. Yeah, Thrax, for sure. I just mean we need to keep that stuff in mind. A lot of people don't consider the tax. Yeah, absolutely. We can't be, we have to be compliant with such large amounts of money, and being an official foundation, it's good to be thinking that way. Oh, lagging, man. This is amazing. Wow. I'm loving that UI, man. This is amazing. You did great. Flame, what's the implication on taxes and location of the money if we can swap everything to Swiss francs? Swiss francs, is that a fiat? Is that a fiat thing compared to keeping in USDC? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know anything about that. I have no idea. But yeah, I'd love to have the CTT on. Get him on next week and let's talk about the specifics of this. Yeah, I only know the only Swiss thing I own is Swiss Army knife. I got one of those. That's as much as I know about that end of the world.
Hey guys, I'm gonna have to get off here a little bit early. Got some
Okay.
things to handle.
All right.
Yep.
Yeah, sounds good. Appreciate your time.
Yep. Just shout out to the directors finally making it happen. Very exciting stuff. So thank you guys so much for the effort.
Yeah, they're killing it right now. Yeah. We'll get the CTT on next week. We'll have an in-depth discussion around some of this. And yeah, we see Lost Local in the house. We'll get Lost Local up here and we can talk about.
Yeah, I'll be listening. I just won't be able to talk.
Oh, it's all good. Yeah, no worries. I'll get Lost Local up here. We'll talk about some event stuff here. Here, let's get you up here.
Great. Later, guys.
Later, Dan. Let's invite you to speak up here. Lost Local, sir.
GM, how's everyone doing?
Doing well, man. We're chilling.
Awesome.
Doing DAO things.
Down it.
Down it. We're down it right.
Heck yeah. Yeah.
No, man, it's cool. I'm glad to have you up here. I just want to talk about a few of our upcoming events and just get your vision from the Pixelcraft side regarding, I think, the big one there. We talked about Miami a little bit as a vacation for Hefe, but moving forwards, I think past Miami, where you're looking at we're looking at NFT NYC. So I'd love for you to speak on that. And then also we got Rizzlefest. I don't see Mike Callum in the house, but I can touch on Rizzlefest, and you can maybe touch on a little bit on the Pixelcraft side of what you're doing.
Yeah, for sure. And we can briefly brush over Miami. We will be down there. We're gonna have a very small presence. We'll probably be doing like open bar happy hour type thing for friends and colleagues. I'm thinking like Monday, which I think is, I don't know the date off the top of my head, but it's the event goes, I think, from like Saturday to Tuesday. So I think we'll do something that Monday evening. So there will be something there for Gotchi Gang. So anyone who's local to Miami, definitely pay attention to our feed and everything. And we're going to have something going on there. And of course, like you said, you'll be down there and I'll be down there. So we're looking forward to meeting up with any local Miami Gotchi Gang. But yeah, I think we're going to be focused on a slightly more formal presence at NFT NYC, which is coming up right around the corner. It's under a month away now. We'll probably do something similar to the Builder Cafe, probably more of like an evening event, but along the same lines of kind of like a bigger party that we can invite folks to. And we'll also be having some conversations with Polygon this upcoming week about what their presence looks like there to figure out what kind of opportunities exist for Aavegotchi in that regard. With these conventions, as people might be noticing, they are stacked like right on top of each other. So a lot of the opportunities that we get present themselves very last minute, so we always do try to take advantage of every opportunity that's available to us. So I will be, trying to lock stuff in for New York, but, we will also be trying to wrangle up some last minute opportunities as the date gets closer as well.
Yeah, no, that totally makes sense and a great way to kind of fill out our whole experience there. That's how we maximized at Denver as well. Maybe we can speak to a little bit, regarding NFT NYC, kind of what the crowd is like compared to Denver and what our mission might be. Because I think our mission is a little bit different, but still pushing forward the Aavegotchi, like the Gotchi gang, essentially.
Yeah, I do think ETH Denver is in many ways like a very unique convention, in the sense that, first and foremost, it's been happening since before NFTs were really a big thing. So there is like a very core blockchain community that attends that event. Also, being that it takes place in Denver in the winter, there's a little bit of a barrier to entry there. There's not just like people hanging out in Denver that happen to end up at the convention. This is very much the opposite at conventions like Miami and New York. You've got a lot of people who are, they're big cities, so people live there already. You've got a lot of just kind of casual interest in blockchain and NFTs. And you also have a lot of people that are just like looking for something to do. So our messaging and I think our presence in New York and Miami will definitely be a bit more, I'd say, like base level. We're looking to interact with more normies, I guess you could say. We want to really, evangelize Aavegotchi, just get people more familiar with the brand. I think we had a unique advantage at Ethereum Denver because we are an early big brain project. So a lot of folks that are in the space and building have some understanding and knowledge of Aavegotchi just because of everything we've been doing since the start. Whereas, a lot of the maybe more casual NFT collectors or folks are probably more keyed into hype projects and things that are trending, day to day. So I think from a content creation standpoint, there's a lot of opportunity there at New York. That's No Future's home. He killed it last year when we were there. So I think like really focusing on getting content, spreading the word, and that's kind of like the focus there. A lot less dev onboarding focus like we had at ETH Denver. It's more of what I'll be doing here at GDC, trying to find people to build games.
Okay, no, this is all making sense here. Yeah, I definitely think this is part of No Future's domain here because there will be a lot of content media production requirement, and also it's the way I'm looking at NFT NYC is exactly what you said there with seeing new faces and people that are completely maybe not even on Polygon, maybe on a different chain, maybe they haven't even really bought their first NFT or they like bought an NFT but they don't really know much more than that about it, and it's like Aavegotchi is this chance to learn about this whole other side of NFTs. We're a different kind of NFT project. We kind of differentiate ourselves from others in many ways, and so I think it's a good. I think it'll be a good showcase to the PFP, and NFT crowd, and there'll be less of a technical demand to explain, just technical aspects of our protocol for sure. I think it's definitely more of a promotional opportunity. You mentioned a Bidler Cafe style event. In addition to those events, of course, you can be probably finding other really cool venues that we can make an impact at. I wanted to kind of put this out to the DAO and see, do you guys have any specific ideas that you think we could do? Of course, we'll start brainstorming internally on some of the things that we might be able to do based on what worked really well at ETH Denver and some of the previous conferences that you guys, Lost Local, No Future, were at. What? Yeah. Is there anything that comes to mind that you guys think would be a highly effective thing for us to implement during ETH Denver? Or sorry, not ETH Denver. NFT NYC. Bidler Cafe. No one knows what I mean. So Bidler Cafe was an event that we did at ETH Denver. It was live streamed. You guys saw it on Discord. We basically invited a whole bunch of builders throughout the week and got them to join us for breakfast morning at a cafe venue that we rented. It was a loft, and had some really cool raffles. Raffled off a bunch of prizes. There were some burritos, and people were just hanging out. We were going around doing interviews at the event, and there was also, like I said, live stream hosted by No Future. So that was that was an interesting event, really engaging event. I think we had a lot of great conversations there, and so we might want to do something similar for NFT NYC, but it'll definitely be more Aavegotchi, like content media focused and promotional towards an NFT and PFP crowd.
Yeah, and these are ideas we'll kick around, but like I think perhaps getting like a photo booth for that event, where we can watermark the images with some like, Aavegotchi NFT NYC branding or something. I think we should just figure out ways to generate content and media from the event as well. Make that kind of like a focus.
Yeah. Shout out to Mike Helm for the sweet mascot that he put together. That really went a long way at ETH Denver. Do you think, it might be very short notice to do anything like that for NFT NYC, but do you think a discussion around maybe having some sort of Aavegotchi mascot made up for these sorts of events, do you think that could go a long way in terms of promotion or, getting people excited about Aavegotchi?
Yeah, I mean, I know that there was some preliminary discussion about that, and I think that that's like, I think it would make complete sense if we, got a proper mascot costume and had that as kind of like that would be like a standard position for these conventions, is someone is going to kind of be the mascot. Um, I know Coder Dan had mentioned speaking to some folks overseas. I have some really great folks too. I just haven't pulled the trigger because I thought it might be in the works already. But I am more than happy to start moving on that. I've got some people that can do some really cool, fully like light up eyes and all that cool stuff. But I think a mascot costume would be awesome for these events.
Yeah, awesome. And maybe that's the start of a conversation. I'd love to lead with the DAO and see if that's something we can make happen. Because I think we'll get good use out of it, given all these events that we can get exposure at. And people love the mascot, man. Like, I'm surprised at how far just two boards with some Velcro skillfully glued to it could go at ETH Denver. Like, yeah, that was one of my favorite parts, probably, of our representation. was the Gotchi mascot. Okay, so that takes care of NFT NYC. If y'all have any questions or anything you want to contribute to NFT NYC, I'll maybe kick off a thread here shortly after this call or later today, and then we can collect some feedback there if you guys have ideas. But we will be probably putting together some sort of a DAO proposal to at least send a core team, consisting of media. I want to make sure No Future gets there and he's able to take some opportunity to produce some content. I think he's going to be down there anyway, actually, because he's going to be at, I think, your dog sitting or something like that. But we'll make sure we get funding at least to, for these events. I think it'll be a smaller team than what we saw at ETH Denver, but there will be a core team. I think I'll definitely try and make an effort to be down there as well. So we can have a core team of 3 or 4 people, and then I believe we have a couple people in New York City that live there. And so if you live in NYC and you would like to be part of this crew, we call them cavalry, but it'd be support, like a support crew, then definitely let us know. We can kind of factor that into our planning.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yep.
Hey, good morning, everybody. I just really quickly want to say that you guys got to move quick. We're less than a month away. I've been asking about this since the beginning of February, and it's we got less than a month to put this all together. So it's just I don't know how realistic it is that we can push through a DAO thing, and get funding to make this happen while still trying to plan it at the same time.
Yeah, well, the other thing is we do have a good idea of what our job demands are, what funding expectations could be. And so I think it would be a lot easier this time around to draft something up and say, hey, based on a unit measurement per person, this is what this estimate could look like for NFT NYC. There was a lot of projection that happened with ETH Denver, and that's why. And, we also had to set a precedent for even getting any sort of funding. So that's what took a long time to get through. So I can't anticipate it taking that long on the funding end of things. I do think the planning is something that should be moved on ASAP, but it looks like Lost Local on your guys' end, you already have things in the works. And so we just have to figure out on our end what we're going to be doing and how we can support, some of those plans.
Yeah, and just for reference there, like NFT Miami's in like 15 days. I don't have a bar or a day set for that event, and I'm not really worried about that at all at this point. So
I know I just have a trip planned, and there's no expectation prior to this of like media coverage. So now I have to think about equipment and all that other stuff. So at least for me on my side, I need more runway to make these things happen.
for sure. And I think moving forward also, like, obviously Pixelcraft is the company here, but these conventions are all set, and we are more than open to the DAO taking some initiative on what you guys would like to do at these events, and then coming to us and saying like, this is what we need support wise. We are doing our best to try to schedule these conventions back to back to back to back with the very short lead time that we get from all of our partners as well as the conventions. The other alternative is to have like extra runtime and spend like 5 to 7 times the amount of money on the media spend, which we feel, with our network, we're able to avoid that most of the time, which does require that we run things a little bit more last minute. However, like I think moving forward, we would absolutely love to see more initiative from the DAO around these conventions saying like, NFT NYC is coming up. We would love to do X, Y, and Z. And then I am so happy to say like, oh, that's a great idea. Let me see how I can help empower y'all. Unfortunately, like I will always do my best to give y'all as much lead time as possible on these, but I'm also, trust me, I'm also being rushed on a lot of this stuff. So I'm doing my best.
I think I was gonna say, I think one suggestion on my end, just to the DAO in general, is what we could do is look at what we have remaining for the rest of the year. Of course, NFT NYC is something we have to discuss sooner than later. But for all these other events, we got Rizzle Fest, we got MCon. I believe there's another event as well that we have lined up to have a comprehensive budget for all these things and get that funded in kind of one go. Like we have a really good idea of what to expect as a DAO from our side when going into these events now. We can ask for fairly accurate estimates of what the work would, what the work would be, what it would cost. And so maybe having just a proposal covering like 2 to 3 of these events might actually be a lot easier in terms of budget management, in terms of planning, to see what we have, and then like you were saying, Lost Local, to work with you guys on your end as things are coming up. And I don't mind the nimble approach on my end. Is I can plan quickly and adapt and um, add things in as they come. But I understand maybe from the media side, there's a little bit more planning there, and so I'll follow up. With no future, we can kind of figure some of that stuff out there. You
Yeah,
had something
I
to
think. Oh,
go ahead.
sorry.
Sorry, no,
No,
go
no.
ahead.
I was gonna say, I think also it's like it's important that we should be using this year of events as like discovery. So taking note of kind of like what the event dynamics were, what the requirements were, and then potentially ballparking rough budgets around these events for the DAO for next year, right? So that like say ETH Denver is a big lift and that's like a $20,000 budget. But we know that like Miami is much smaller. That's like a $5,000 budget. If you guys can organize that kind of budget in some scheduled format, and we know that the funds are there, then I think that becomes at least a major lift on the logistics side, so that like you guys can plan your travel and you can know who's going to be in town. Of course, we can fill in the blanks as we get closer, but I think that from a logistics end, working in video production for 15 years, like as long as I know what dates I need the equipment and what dates my team needs to be on the ground, everything else, like where we point the cameras, becomes like secondary. So I think that would be a good approach moving forward.
Okay, yeah. No, I like that. And that kind of ties in with like asking for a collective budget for all these things and say, I could talk to you and say we have, $10,000 allocated for this event and we could work together and figure out what we want to do with that, you know, um, that sort of thing too.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to go, and I think that that'll create a natural kind of like system here where we can figure out like if it's a dollar per dollar match, if it's like like we did in
Exactly.
Denver where we just took care of like all of the event costs and whatever it is. But I think that more systematic approach would definitely help some of these logistic issues as well.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. One more thing I just think we should touch on here, and I've limited information on this, but Rizzle Fest, we have a few locals and Mike Callum who might be going. Might be a small little team, but on the Pixelcraft side of things, what are you guys thinking of for Rizzle Fest?
Yeah, so this is actually this wasn't really planned, but Rizzle had hit me up directly, and they had some sponsorship opportunities available for the fest. Some of them were like printing logos on frisbees and water bottles and stuff. They had an opportunity to fund a mural, so I'm going to try to sort out the details with them. But I think the goal here is that we'll fund that mural so that we can make it nice and gotchi themed. And also, Pixelcraft will donate a fake gotchi card, and then we can photograph the mural and mint it as a fake gotchi. And we can figure out distribution and utility for that token. But I think it'll be a good way to get some visual presence at Rizzle Fest. We can potentially incentivize folks there to, take photos in front of the mural as well and amplify the Aavegotchi message. We can incentivize that perhaps through some of the members that'll be there. But, we love Rizzle, and we thought that this would be a great opportunity to support, a very core event. So we will be at the very least, having some marketing presence there.
Oh yeah, totally. I mean, the GMI crew's been hanging out with the Rizzle fam this whole week, kind of seeing what they're doing on their end of things, the Motiverse and some of the cool tools they're playing with. And they do have that gotcha gang vibe, like we have synergies between our communities. And so and he's super stoked on Aavegotchi as well. He was there at our Bidler Cafe. So I think it's only natural we go support him, and I'm kind of stoked to see what this mural is going to look like. It's yeah, is the whole thing going to be Aavegotchi themed, the mural, or is it going to be like all these different projects kind of represented on this one canvas?
That I have to have a call with him to confirm because it was little. There was a mural and there's also a banner, and the banner I know had multiple projects. The way he explained the mural, he said with gotchis all over it, but I don't know if that means exclusively gotchis or not, or if we're going to be sharing the real estate with some other folks.
Nice. Okay, cool. Yeah, no, this is I'm stoked. I'm just overall just really stoked on the upcoming events we have this year in the IRL Aavegotchi representation, and then also this like synergy between Pixelcraft and Aavegotchi DAO. I think is just going to keep getting better in terms of representation at events.
Yeah, and I don't know if there's any gotcha gang in the Bay Area, but I am local for GDC this week. I arrived last night. There are some, random events happening this week, and it's kind of low key. So anyone who's in the Bay Area, feel free to hit me up, and you can tag along to some of the stuff if you want.
Awesome. Yeah, I wish I could be at GDC. It's definitely on my radar for next year, and hope you're enjoying it over there and making those cool connections. And yeah, definitely be looking forward to. Did it just start the other day? Just start yesterday, or
No,
how long?
tomorrow the official start. So today is pre-registration, but there's a game developers satellite event that I'm going to be heading to after this call to try to start recruiting some folks. They're actually going to be doing a demo of the Unity SDK with MetaMask, so we're going to get to see some hands-on of that and some wallet integration to mobile gaming this morning, which will be exciting. Yeah, and I'm very excited to be here. We're going to be like right alongside the big boys and the big girls in the gaming world. So it's cool that Web3 and blockchain gaming has like a very big presence this year. So this is kind of like a breakout year for our industry. It's very exciting.
It really does feel like that. And yeah, I'm just yeah, exactly. We'll keep these conversations going. I'll have a sync up with who I think is going to be there for NFT NYC, and we'll get some of those details sorted out. And I appreciate your time coming up here, man. I know you're on the move. You've been on the move like crazy lately, and so I don't want to tie you up here for too long. So
No, it's all good.
yeah.
I get 10 days home in this 7-week period. So it's been interesting.
Jeez, man. I can't move around like you do, but I definitely have appreciation for the nomadic types that can move around like that.
My pleasure. Stoked to be out here representing the project and, appreciate everyone's support near and far.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right, sir. I think on this note, we can wrap up the DAO call here. Appreciate you coming out. Appreciate the other 53 members still hanging out with us here today. We're at the forefront of DAO governance here at Aavegotchi DAO. So I'm glad we're all a part of it here. Absolutely. Let's get it.
Yeah, have a great day, guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Take care, guys. That's really cool, Lagan. The thing you put together there. I'm gonna use that actually. All right, later, fellas, ladies, everybody. Take care. Have a good weekend. We're back up again tomorrow morning, GM with GMI at 3 p.m. UTC. We're hanging out in the GMI server, and so if you're not in there, you want to be in there. We're playing games, we're doing fun things in the morning, and you don't want to miss out on that. Yeah, everybody's invited. Everybody and anybody's invited. We're open open entry here. So check us out. We'll be kicking that off in the Discord tomorrow morning at 3 p.m. UTC, which is around this time here. So yeah, take care, friends, and we'll see you next week. Peace out.